Good evening. God bless you all. I just want to share with you a dream that the Lord had showed me, given to me several years back. During this dream, I actually perceived that I was woke, but I later discovered that I wasn't, which is the norm when we have those realistic dreams. There's a technical definition for that I'm not quite sure what it is. At any rate, in this dream, we were having service, and I could see like host of choirs, and it was interesting because the choirs were like on different levels. There were choirs that were coming down and choirs that were coming over, and it looked as if they were in a choir stand, and they were in fact like different churches, and they were coming from all over the world, and they were singing, and it seemed to me at that time that they were trying to get the attention of the Lord by singing, because they kept singing in this beautiful, um, harmonious, melodious voices. Their voices were like enchanted. It was just so beautiful, and they were praising God, and but they were saying Jesus. It was several different churches or choirs, and they were like coming from all over places. I could just envision like these choirs coming down, these choirs coming down, choirs coming down, and choirs of people, not necessarily robed up. I don't remember that part, but I knew that they were like all on one accord, and they were saying Jesus. In the meantime, I could see like in the room that was adjacent to the room that I was in, I could see this man. He was laying down, and they kept calling Jesus, 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 but they were singing it. And he got up, and I thought to myself, he's getting up to see what they're saying, and they've awakened this man. Well, at any rate, he got up and he came out into the hallway, and he came into the sanctuary, and we were at the end of the service. And of course, the prayer line was there. I called the prayer line, and several people had come up. I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, one or two people, just a couple people had come up, and we had prayed for him. And he began to come over, and it was just something about the way that he was staring at me. I mean, he was glaring at me, and I'm thinking, who is he? And I knew that I knew him, but I could not place who he was. I said, I know this man. But then I remember thinking maybe he came on a church bus, or whatever. Um, I just didn't know, because he looked, his skin was like a beautiful, real light brown, like olive brown, and his hair was, it was long hair, and it was golden. It was really pretty golden, but it was like not a golden like a natural, a blonde or anything like that, because he wasn't Caucasian, and he wasn't like any color or any kind of Mediterranean. I don't know what he was. And I remember looking at him and thinking, I know him. But the most curious thing about him for me is that he was limping as if he was in pain. And I thought to myself, what has happened to this fella, And I thought, well, when he comes up, I'm going to really pray for him, that, and I know the Lord's going to heal him, the way we typically think, we're going to touch an agreement by faith or whatever. But he wasn't really struggling to walk, but he seemed as if he was hurting or in agony. He wasn't limping, but he wasn't walking uniform in sequence. His walk, he staggered sort of, but he wasn't limping. I don't know how to put it. It was just sort of an odd sort of fella. But as he came across the sanctuary, and we were in a lower sanctuary, as he came across the sanctuary, he stared at me all the way across, you know. And when he got up to the end of the pew, the aisle, I'm sorry, when he got up to the end of the aisle, he proceeded to come forward. And I thought to myself, I just know him. Why can't I place where I know him from? And when he got up to me, he stopped and he looked at me as if he wanted me to do something that I wasn't doing. I don't know how I knew this, but he looked at me and he knew me. And I looked straight into his eyes. And when I looked into his eyes, my God, the most purest white light came out of his eyes and out of his nose. And I could see eternity. I could see eternity. And he said to me, and he never opened up his mouth. He said, if you call me, I will come. If you call me, I will come. Glory, hallelujah. He said to me, tell the church, if they call me, I will come. And this is what I've been trying to say for the last 6 years. When the true church becomes so unimpressed with this world, when they call on Jesus, he's coming. Even as I speak, because there are some that are calling, Lord, save us from this untoward generation. Save us. There are some that are calling. They want Jesus more than they want anything and anyone else in this life. And when that last church person comes in to agreement, unanimously and harmoniously, we'll see God in the air. We don't know if that a person will come in tonight. We don't know if it'll be the next day. But I surely assure you that there are those that want Jesus. Just like that 5 wise virgins, they have turned down their plate in this life, and they are ready and prepared. And they have gotten to a point where they're telling the unwise, we won't give you our oil, lest there not be enough for thee and we. But go yourselves and buy from those that sell. Get your own oil. Get your own oil. Get your own oil. Prepare yourself. The Lord is coming, ready or not. God bless you all.